If you are constantly learning and evaluating yourself, I believe we can all get there.
Start somewhere. Just start. Get started. Get out of your comfort zone. You are the one that limits yourself. Whatever limiting factors that you put inside your brains and tell yourself that you can't do it, you end up becoming the whatever you believe in. You can't do it. But you can. In the can't, there is can first. So go for it. If you're an African American, a woman from any part of the world trying to build something, leading to something, or trying to understand the world you're operating in, this podcast is for you. Hi, I'm Iman. I am the co-founder of Naserian Access.
And hi, I'm Jamila, also co-founder of Naserian Access.
Today we're going to be unraveling our whole journey, our story from how we started from being an idea to being a registered company here in Minnesota, looking at the key aspects, the important things that we needed to look at, the rules, the federal rules, the dynamics of registration and everything else, to where we are at now. We went through a registered agent. A registered agent is someone who can take over all your registration and applications and make sure that your company is fully registered under the jurisdiction that governs your state, and make sure that you're up and running and you're compliant and you're legal as well. We had high expectations of what we were getting versus what we actually got.
Certain things that are advertised in a certain way might not actually materialize in the way that they're advertised or the way that you expect. So we went with a registered agent because our firm was going to be online. We're working remotely. Working from home is the natural choice. And we wanted to create a business that allows us to still be true to ourselves, have that flexibility without being penalized for it. Hence the whole argument on the integration gap and also building something that fits you. In terms of the structure of our registration, you need to have a legal address, but security concern was what drove us to look at organizations and companies that could act as our agent and could facilitate the registration process and offer us a legal address for the company without it being our home address out there in the open.
What measures did we take for our due diligence? I just wanted you to also highlight that when you're in the conversation.
We used a few different channels, and I think Iman can add on to this. The usual Google search is one, but Google search these days is not as thorough as doing a search in different platforms, AI platforms to be specific, maybe even pulled off YouTube, pulled off Twitter, social media, depending on which AI you're using, and then also adding the more logical reasoning around different things. So I think that kind of helps you with some of the initial research and analysis that you could do. So we used a few platforms, this ChatGPT, everybody knows, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot. We pulled out what is the research on the different reviews, well-reviewed companies, which companies are not problematic in terms of having any sorts of complaints or lawsuits or liabilities on any issues. And then from there, we did cross-reference with the Google platform on them, going into their website as well and seeing how user-friendly it is and what they are offering in terms of products, and not just taking the AI research via its word for it. We also went into Reddit because Reddit is one of the most active platforms when it comes to user reviews. And this is highly used by a lot of women as well, seeing as that was our demographic as women starting businesses and our concerns. We saw best that to also go into that platform. We also went into YouTube because YouTube is another very good tool to use for direct user reviews. And then based on that and just seeing general good reviews for that particular company, we're like, oh yeah, let's go ahead with it. And looking at the interface and what they marketed, it was a lot of things that are coming with it because we're looking for a legal address that was going to be a business address, and them being a registered agent to register and file the application for us. But then they were throwing in the additional aspects, a free website, free business phone, email, and all these other bonus things that we were going to get with the package deal and price. So we went into it really confident about what we're signing up for and what we're getting. I mean, there were similar services that were offering similar packages, but the reviews didn't really come out very well for them. So I could say, like, based on our due diligence, we picked the right organization to go with. And their customer service was always on point as to their response time and responding and helping us. So yeah, we won't fault them for that. But maybe back to Iman on like where the gaps were in terms of like our expectations and actually what actually happened in real life.
Yeah. So basically, we were looking at security for ourselves as business owners. Using your residential address for your business is not the safest thing to do. We also looked at having a virtual office where our letters, our mails, everything can be received in the place. And the deal was sweet. The deal was very sweet. The package was good. But they say not all that glitters is gold. And this is something that we always have to go with, because even after the due diligence, the experience lived is not the same based on the expectations that were built. It was good if you're not expecting a lot. It's good for people who don't require a lot. So while you're using a registered agent, you have to lower down your expectations and ensure that whatever you're going to get is what you actually need, or whatever you're looking for is what you need, not the extras. The extras shouldn't be what determines why you're going for this company. The setting up part was the easy part, and we commend them for that. They did so well, but it was those extras that we were like, oh, we're going to be getting, and the pricing wasn't really mentioned when you're getting the fast package. You're told you're going to get a phone number for free for the whole year. You're going to get a free website. So when you hear all of these things, the deal sounds so sweet and you're like, okay, I want to go for this. But when you move forward, if you want to add email addresses, if you want to have more phone numbers, like more calls, you only get, let's say, 9 calls or 10 calls. More than that, you have to pay extra. Those extra costs are the ones that you don't really see them. And then at the end of the day, you thought you're going to be saving, but instead of saving, you're actually using more than you anticipated or more than you budgeted for. So let's say if we registered by ourselves, it would be $155 for the Minnesota LLC registration, right? And EIN number is free. Okay. So that would be our cost. And then we would have to, figure out about our website, figure out our email addresses and everything else. If we went with that notion or that mentality from the beginning, it would have been quite easier, because at the end of the day, even when we registered with the registering agent, we still had to go back for this because we were unsatisfied with what they were offering us, or whatever they were offering us didn't really cater for us as a company or us as what we do. It didn't really cater for whatever we wanted to take out there. Again, it shouldn't be the extras that lead you to making a decision. It should be, what service am I looking for? Are they giving me that service? If they're going to give me extras, well, and when you're starting a company, you have to budget for it. You have to make sure you understand what expenses you're going to incur. So if you're incurring expenses and you have to incur those same expenses more than once, then you're starting off with a loss. Most companies start off with a loss, until a certain period of time, and then they start earning profit and seeing their returns. But if you're starting up and you're a young person or a stay-at-home mom, you have to have a budget. You have to think of, what exactly am I putting myself into? Because you're going to need contingencies. You're going to need to set up an extra, like plan A, plan B, maybe plan C. If this doesn't work, how am I moving to the next plan? And then if plan B doesn't work, how am I moving to plan C? Now I'll bring you back to registration, right? We registered, we're in business. Our website wasn't what we anticipated. So we had to start figuring out, because it was a one-pager website that didn't really speak anything. So we had to go back and say, now we need to do a research on the website hosts. And mind you, we had a perfect domain that we thought that this explains us. But that domain was with this registered agent because that's the route that we chose, right? So now we have to go back and find a website developer, do a whole research, and then figure out how to move our domain from the registered agent to us. And all of these things, I kid you not, you are incurring costs, extra costs. So these are things that you have to be mindful of when you're starting. Due diligence is important. What people say online, like when you're going to Amazon, right? If you go to Amazon, you scroll down to the reviews, and then you're looking at what do people have to say, how the pictures look like. It's the same process. With starting a company, you have to do the same process. You have to go review the people that are serving you. What does Google say? What does Reddit say? Well, ChatGPT and the AI search engines, they are good, but now they're also used as platform for advertising as well. So whatever they will recommend is not going to be the best thing. It's just based on what they think is best because somebody else is advertising there. So you always have to go an extra mile to do your own research. And your research shouldn't be based on what people say about a product. It should be based on what you need. And that's how you'll get wherever you're going. I think that's it from my side.
The lessons from that is you could think that you're saving money. And like my mom always loves to say, cheap is expensive. Don't always go for the free gifts that you're given. See what you're getting.
Never go for the free things.
Because cheap will be expensive. More, maybe the extra didn't work for us, but it could work for somebody else. And that could be fine. We're at the pinnacle of the AI discussion. We have a lot of issues surrounding AI, and there's human rights discussions, there's governance issues around it. And as Nasarian Access, ethical AI for development is one of the areas that we're also focusing on. There's a lot of like ethical discussions that need to be put out there. And we want a lot more people, especially marginalized people who are left behind always, to be part and parcel of this discussion. We're not going to go deep into like it today, but we'll just do, I will give my experience in terms of leveraging AI for business growth and optimization. I think there are benefits to using AI and seeing as it's already out there. And this is the reality that we're living now. It would be easy for us to just be like, oh, I don't want anything to do with AI because of kind of ethical issues that are involved around AI. But we see it more as a governance challenge, and where there is strengthened governance and frameworks and structures and policies around it, it could be managed better. But now that we do have it out there and you are a business person trying to get started, and our theme this year has been start before you're ready, know what you want to do. Go out there, try different things. Don't be afraid of failure and just start. So in that theme of starting before you're ready, having AI and being able to leverage AI is probably one of the best bets for 2026 onwards, because we already have it in circulation, to ensure that you do have the coverage for the manpower that maybe you cannot afford to start out and hire a bunch of staff. You probably don't have the time nor the money, the resources to do all the tasks that you need to do to get where you need to get to. But AI tools are there and they are operational to assist with some slight tasks that it doesn't have to replace your human capacity, your human judgment, your values or ethics, but it could just be a tool that you use to operationalize your business and to cut some of that administrative burdens that you might have otherwise, even with, resources and being able to hire staff, but there's still like administrative burdens on management of staff, because as a business and you being the owner of the business, you feel like you have to be a jack of all trades and be everywhere all at once, because that's just how it is when you're starting out. Leveraging different AI tools can cut that time short. There, you still have to advocate for ethical considerations and encourage that everyone to join that discussion. But if you are wanting to start and lacking the means, then AI tools can be leveraged for efficiency and to get you started. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you that AI is not supposed to replace manpower. It's not supposed to replace the human eye. It's supposed to complement the human effort and to cut down the burdens. I don't know about other people how they start, but when we started, we don't really have the money to hire 10 people who can do the 10 tasks that we need them to do. But we can use our knowledge to prompt AI with our work. It's just how you choose to use it, if it's for good, because AI can be used to help people, can be used to create solutions, right? Let me give an example. There's a lady that I know who does not have the money to hire a person to create a poster for her work, for her business. She's a braider. And everybody that she went to told her she needed like $400 for just a simple poster and a video. Money that she doesn't have. Mind you, when she braids, her prices to braid is like $100 and she doesn't get a lot of people. But she wants to advertise on platforms like Facebook, and she's not a communication person. She's not a graphics designer. She's not, a social media influencer. She's just a person who has a business. Now, she uses ChatGPT almost every day for recipes, weight loss, and everyday tasks. But she doesn't know that she can use the same because she's already using AI. And let's face it, if we're using platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Meta is using AI. So people tend to say, we don't like AI because AI is destroying the world. I'm just going to, throw some stones at me. I'm just going to put it out there. But these platforms that we are using are already using AI, and we are enabling AI. So what am I saying? We can
Governments are using AI as well. Let's put it that.
Absolutely. Governments are using AI as well. It depends on how you're using it. If you're a person who's struggling, if you're a business owner who is already using all of these AI tools for your day-to-day recipes and everything else, you can optimize AI to create your business. You can optimize AI to give you a business plan. But AI doesn't do this alone. You have to have a clear picture of what you want. Then you can go into it because you have to instruct it to give you the results that you want. This is my opinion. AI is not supposed to replace human effort. And I don't think we're supposed to trust AI to work alone. We are supposed to be the ones that are on top of it to give us the results that we want. You always have to counter check it. If we don't understand it, especially Africans, we're going to be left behind. It's coming, and it's coming in really fast. We need to understand what the AI innovations tool, do they speak for us? We need to be in those spaces, in those dialogues to make sure that the policies and the discussions are around do not leave us behind. And it has to speak our language as well. It has to speak for our people, the minorities, the people who are marginalized. It always has to speak for us. If we're not in those spaces, we will be left behind. Yeah.
And so it's still a continual process, and we'll still emphasize that governments really need to step in, and we need to have stronger frameworks. We need to look at the impacts on human rights and impacts on environmental damage, on all the impacts that it has on human lives. But that is a discussion for another day.
Everyone has their own opinion about things, and we respect every opinion matters. It's okay. I have worked in advocacy in different sectors, like the mining sectors, and I have seen communities being impacted by those activities. Those activities might not affect the people who live in the United States, where the gold is exported to, or maybe the diamonds and tanzanites are exported to, but they do affect the people who are living in the communities. Everything that we do in this world has an impact. Now, how do we move from those impacts to rehabilitation of land when it comes to mining, covering those holes that are in the communities so that kids don't fall in the holes, so that women and men in the communities can start farming. Just because you have an opinion, it doesn't mean that people are going to stop working the way that they are used to work. It doesn't mean that Meta will stop running Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp because somebody has an opinion about AI. How do you influence the policies to reclaim the places that have been destroyed by the tool that you do not like so much is what is needed. Attacking somebody because they use a platform that you do not like does not solve a problem.
I liked your take on that because strategically communicating your position and your belief has to also be mindful and respectful of somebody else's decision and beliefs, and to also reinforce that everybody is autonomous in their decisions and what they decide and what they believe in, and nothing is mutually exclusive.
Am I really a bad person for using AI to advocate for human rights? That is the question.
Yeah. I really like the spin. I like the direction because those are now the important questions. Somebody advocating for human rights and gender equality using AI, a small business trying to thrive using AI, versus when we're talking about all the systems using AI, we're talking about a security system, surveillance that's going on in a lot of countries. We're talking about governments using AI, forms using AI to ensure that processes are less bureaucratic. We're talking about, the platforms that we're even communicating in, Instagram, the Meta interface, Google. So I don't know what your solution is, but our solution is that we focus on what we can control and what we can engage in and what we can change, which is governance structures, systems, policies, and frameworks governing AI that should be inclusive, incorporate everybody, every group, and how they're getting affected, and ensure that they're environmentally friendly, human rights friendly. That is the conversation that we should be focusing on.
I want us to deep dive in women building and things that we had to learn and watch. When we were starting this journey, we learned from a lot of other women that were already in the entrepreneurial journey, or they already built something for themselves. We attended a number of webinars that were speaking on creating our own thing, how to sell, how to pitch yourself, a lot. We attended a lot of lessons, a lot of classes where people were sharing their experiences and how they got where they got.
Yeah. I think from where we came from, in terms of like understanding the landscape, understanding different things and how to build in this country. Aside from the research and the due diligence part, we also did a lot of learning from other people, and not necessarily maybe learning from like African diaspora or, necessarily learning from other Africans per se, but learning from people who had like similar circumstances. For instance, mothers who were creating multiple businesses and having business growth while still being mothers and still working from home. What type of business models are they utilizing and how are they thriving in that way? So we did attend a lot of webinars, especially seeing as we didn't come with the business knowledge or experience for that matter. So we had to like learn about the different businesses processes, from operations, marketing, sales, all those aspects that we needed to learn from, and we're learning from people. So the same way we are putting this podcast out there so that other people can learn from us and can be inspired to start even when they're not ready, is the same way we found a lot of like webinars, podcasts, a lot of different master classes that we attended and picked up a lot from them. People also go an extra mile to get coaching, to get mentors. And we have like different mentors and different advisors, in different parts.
Yes, absolutely. We are development practitioners who started a company. So we understand the dynamics of the development world and what we need to put in to be able to cater for the different causes and bring impact to the society, from gender transformative programming to understanding the real dynamics of what impact women in the ground. So we needed to learn from different people what exactly entails having a business, the marketing dynamics, what we need to put out there, how you need to present yourself.
For my part, I'm the technical and program lead, but that didn't really mean that I only focus on like the more programmatic aspect of things. That meant that we both had to learn all the different things. And Iman is our business development lead. But it didn't mean that I was exempted from understanding all the different processes. We all learned all the different processes together. And that is strategic because we're both co-owners of our business. So we all have to understand, what we need to do in terms of business development that goes with, marketing and sales and, content creation and all that stuff.
Yeah. It is clear. I mean, one thing that I just heard you say is the business world, and I came from civil society, the nonprofit world, right? When you're in the business world, you have to understand the language, and the language has to reflect to your customers, your clients. That's very important. You might be saying the same thing, but if somebody does not understand it, then they feel left out and they will not come to you. For example, in nonprofit, we use the term organization, right? Here, we're using business development because now we're business people. Now, if you say organization development to a person who's a local business, they don't see themselves. So it's always trickling down to what exactly are you saying to your client? I just wanted to stress on that because that's very important. And people don't like to feel left out. People like to see themselves in whatever you're trying to advertise out there, whatever you're trying to sell out to them. People want to see themselves in it. And this is not even far from being a nonprofit. The communities that we work with have to see themselves in whatever you're advocating for. Most times we are speaking big terms and jargons where we would say a term that if you go to Tandahimba and tell that term to a lady in Tandahimba who's facing the same problem, they really don't see themselves. So they'll say that's not for me. It's like saying politics. Politics is just not for me. I don't participate in politics. We participate in politics every day. Not understanding politics affects our day-to-day life. We think knowing the law is for a lawyer or an advocate only, but as citizens of a place, we need to understand what does the law that is governing our, state or our community, what does it say to us? Or else you will get in trouble with it. And one thing that I learned in my first year of university was ignorance of the law is not a defense. That is something that you always have to go with. Now, I don't want to go back to class. What I'm saying is that understanding what you're communicating to people is key. When you shift hats and wear a teacher's hat, you have to speak in a way that the children can understand you. If you shift a hat and wear a doctor's hat, you have to speak in a way that the patient can understand you. And that is similar to being a business owner. If you were a teacher, but you become a bookseller, you have to speak in the way that you still wear your teacher's hat, but in a way that you're marketing yourself, that I have this. It is my strength that I'm a teacher, so I understand the problems that kids go through. And that's why I wrote this book, so that you can get the clients that you want. Because now if you're selling books for kids, right, you're not selling to the children that you used to teach in class. You're selling to their parents who want to buy the books because they understand what their kids need. If you're selling a book, I have a book here. It's called Cat Out of the Water. If I'm selling Cat Out of the Water, I, as a parent, have to understand that this book caters for my child. And now, remember, you're speaking to a business, right? Yes, because we, as Naserian Access, we do B2B, business to business, right? We cater for other businesses. So now you're speaking to a business, and the terms that we use, per se, somebody doesn't really see themselves in those terms. So now you have to tune your mind and shift and say, okay, this is what I'm telling this person as a business, so that they understand this is the category that they fall in, and this is how I can serve them. That is key. Communication is key when it comes to becoming a business person. And the way you communicate, the language that is out there, simplifying, speaking simple terms. In the development world, it's very, I don't know if we want to look smart or we are so smart that we don't know the simple terms. I don't know what it is. But it's always the big terms, where people don't really see it. If you're talking about a community, how it's impacted by, let's say, climate change, tell them the smallest example of how they're impacted by climate change so that they really see those examples that they go through day to day. But if you tell them things that they have to Google, and mind you, these communities don't have phones. We're talking about not leaving people behind, but yet what we say leaves people behind. So we always have to narrow it down. I just wanted to stress on that. I don't know if I jumped like a jelly bean, but it's so important to understand what we're saying out there. Who the people we're catering for are, what we're communicating, what language are we using? Is it a really complex language? Is it really jargons and, big terms? Shift your hat, narrow it down, take yourself to the level that you want to be heard, and then fit in. And we want you to do right now, we want you to tag young girls who you think will benefit from our stories. If they're stay-at-home moms, if they're immigrants like us, if they're people who are trying to juggle through their careers, if they just tag them, let them see this information. Don't just sit with the information by yourself and be selfish. Don't be selfish. Tag them on Instagram. Tell us your story on the comment sections. If you want to be part of our guests, we want to hear from you. If you're an immigrant who's living in anywhere in the world, anywhere, as long as you moved from one country to somewhere else, tell us, how did you navigate? How did you make it? We know there is so many people of African ethnicity who have made it in different parts of the world. We want to see you. We want to hear from you. So check us out, okay? And give us a thumbs up and likes and review. I don't know, whatever.
Subscribe, thumbs up, follow us on our socials. We need all those things. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to us.
Until next time.